Today we've come to Rotunda Boxing Gym, which is in Kirkdale, Liverpool. And the reason we're here is when I first got diagnosed with testicular cancer in 2003, after I finished my treatment, I wanted to make myself feel a bit alive and, you know, a little bit of a challenge. So I had a little spar with Paul Smith, who is a very well-known boxer. And it was a great experience, and also raised awareness of life after testicular cancer. Like, you can go and do stuff. You know, you can go out and have a few adventures, and you can feel good about yourself. So last year, my cancer came back and I was back on the old chemo. And I wanted to do it again, but I thought, why not do it again and get some of the lads to come along on the day, because boxing's booming at the minute. So most of the lads we help are all big Smith Brothers fans, and we go to a lot of their fights. I said, look, Smith, can you bring yourself and Callum along and have a little spar with some of the recent survivors, and you know, let's give them a good day, make them feel good about yourself. So that's the reason we're here today, is to have a good day out as a survivor, get the lads here, they get to meet the boxers and they get to have a bit of fun with in the ring there with Callum and Stephen. Let the better feeling show, 'cause in our hearts we're petrified to leave.
I'm Matt. In 2012 I was diagnosed with stage 1 TC. I had to have an operation, and I was given a course of chemotherapy. They told me it'd make me feel a little bit sick. I wasn't expecting the other changes that would go with it as well. How tired it would make me, its effect on the rest of my body, constant colds, mouth ulcers, cuts and bruises and lumps would get infected.
Hardest thing for me with chemotherapy was it's almost like poison going into your body, but it's there in a sense to make you better. But you know, it was a mix of 3 different chemicals coming into me, and I lost all my hair and stuff, and I felt so weak and unable to do things, and I didn't want to see people because of the way that they would perceive me. And you know, it was tough. The chemotherapy is really tough.
I had stage 3 germ cell cancer of an unknown origin. Germ cell cancer is a form of testicular cancer which originates in either your testicles or behind your abdominal wall. You don't exactly find a lump like you do with normal testicular cancer, but you do get signs within your testicles that show it's there. Chemotherapy was rough. The easiest way for me to explain it is like if you've been on a bender for a weekend, not slept, not eaten, the way you feel on that Monday, that's how you feel from chemotherapy for weeks and weeks, every day, all night. It's difficult to sleep, but you're tired. It's difficult to eat, but you're hungry. It's just not nice. Obviously there's a common side effects, sickness, feeling nauseous, losing your hair, things that you read about and you do expect, but then the other side effects that you don't expect. All the medication you're on, your moods are different, your hormones are imbalanced. It's a very, very difficult period of time.
I was one of the lucky ones with the treatment. A few lads have been through a lot worse than me. I had the 1 dose of chemo, and even that wasn't very pleasant, to be honest, and compared to what some of the lads have been through. I feel quite lucky on that side of things.
Chemotherapy, it was rough to start off with. I was really anxious, just desperately wanted the cancer out of my body, so I really fought it in the first cycle. But the best bit of advice I had from Checkham lads at the time was just to let the chemotherapy do its job, really. So I'm a marathon runner. I like to run a lot. That's what I do, and I decided to start treating chemotherapy a lot like running a marathon, just trying to settle into it, try to eat my way through it if I needed to eat, sleep when I needed to sleep, just rest, just, to be honest, just take myself out of family life and just do what I needed to do to just get through the chemotherapy.
Chemotherapy is a very scary word. I think when you're going through it, from being told that you've got cancer to sitting there and then being hooked up to the machine, it's a very daunting experience. But I think when I was a bit determined to, to head it head on and get through it, and it was more of you go into a bit of autopilot. I was fine at first. For the first cycle, it didn't really affect me that badly, but once treatment got further on, and the more of the chemicals that are flowing through your body, you get weakness, you sleep a lot, you need to drink a lot of water. Your white blood cell count's all very low, so you've got to make sure that you're away from anybody who's sick, because you'll pick up illnesses very quickly. But the important thing was my thoughts of it was this stuff is going to be bad at first, but it's going to make me better.
That's it. So you want to throw after you throw your right hand, you turn to like throw a left hook to that one. Right over here and then hook across to that one, yeah. There you go. Over here. Cheers.
When I was first told I had cancer, I knew I was quite ill. There'd been quite a long period of time, maybe 2 to 3 months, where I'd been really poorly and I knew something was seriously wrong. They were unsure what type of cancer I had, so I spent a week in hospital knowing I had cancer, not knowing what type of cancer I had, and that was horrific. It was terrifying, because obviously you think, am I going to die? You know, what type of cancer do I have? Whereabouts in my body is it? So it was a confusing time.
I remember being in the doctors and the doctor just said, you know, I believe you've got cancer. And I didn't believe him at the start, and it was only when I got back to my car outside the doctors that I just broke down in tears and just really didn't know where to go. I felt like my world was just caving in around me.
Mortified, to be honest, mortified. Just hearing the word cancer. I fell apart for a few days, thinking I'm not going to survive. Death, life, worry. My kids and my family more than anything. That was the main worry.
My greatest fear was dying. You know, the fact that I hadn't had children then, and you know, something that I always wanted was children. And you know, how my parents would cope with it, and my girlfriend and stuff, and you know, just like life goals that I had for the future and stuff, that I was frightened that I wouldn't get to fulfill them.
And Callum! No, hold on. Leave that phone away. One of the main questions I get asked a lot is, people treat me differently, and a lot of people you expect to be your friend or close to you sort of disappear. Now, I want you to think about it this way. Before you got diagnosed with testicular cancer, you'd probably want to avoid someone with cancer because it's a terrifying thing. The word cancer is a terrifying thing. So it's probably not they don't love you or they don't worry about you. A lot of it is they don't know what to say.
I think people did become a bit distant. I think, you know, when you associate cancer, you know, people who haven't been through it don't understand, and they don't know what to say, whether they're going to say the right thing, the wrong thing. You know, people are a bit subdued and take a step back and stuff, and almost say, you know, I'm here if you need me, because they don't really know what else to say.
A lot of people are more sincere, I found out. A lot of people didn't speak to, I spoke to more people after getting cancer. And yeah, it's a strange feeling, the after cancer, strange.
My family and friends were great when they found out that I had cancer. The ones closest to me just treated me, you know, they were anxious, they were, I think, behind the scenes very emotional about what was happening to me. They didn't show it to my face, but they were emotional. I had a couple of friends who I've kind of lost touch with since, and I just think that they just found it difficult to know what to say, really, just as I did to people before I had cancer.
I had a friend who I never heard from again. A lot of my other friends rallied round, my family rallied round, and were there for me when I needed them, and still are.
Some people did treat me a little bit differently. That was quite surprising of some of the people who it was. But then, you know, there's quite a lot of people who are your best friends, just, you know, treat me the exact same. I don't want any sympathy. Just if I'm in the pub with my mates and having a couple of beers, I don't want them to talk to me or treat me in any different way than they did beforehand, and they don't. I still think I'm in Egypt.
To be honest, the first year I found of going into remission after testicular cancer was okay. The first month was absolutely, I was on cloud nine. We all were in my family, just knowing that we weren't having to live with the weekly visits to hospital, and I wasn't going to have to go through the process of having chemotherapy. And the first year continued like that. It was kind of a feeling of I've got my life back, and actually, life is worth living, and you appreciate the small things. It was kind of beyond the first year that things started to get tough for me. When you do start thinking back and reflecting and thinking why did that happen, and actually whether it's important why it happened to you, really.
After treatment, I mean, life was really tough. I was starting to get physically better, but the emotional and the mental side of things, it really was a hard thing to battle. I had to do a couple of rounds of counselling and stuff, just to, because you think to yourself, why me? What did I do to deserve this? I'm just a normal lad that goes about his life, and I didn't think I deserved it, but life after cancer is really, really tough. But it's a completely new lease of life having a baby. My daughter's called Alyssa, she's 5 weeks old now, and it was something, as I said earlier, that it's something that I really wanted in life, was to start my own family. Alyssa is here now, which is great for me and my partner. It's going back to when I seen the consultant at Liverpool Women's Hospital. He said that he really didn't think that I'd be able to have children, and that my only chance would probably be IVF, which for me was devastating news. And to go on to produce a beautiful little baby naturally is just the icing on the cake for me.
After the treatment, the first few months I found really hard, and then I got to grips with life after cancer, after having testicular cancer. I got to grips and got myself sorted.
Somebody who's just been diagnosed, if they've come onto our forum at Checkham Lads, is to try and stay calm, although that's really hard, and to deal with the problem when we've got it, and we'll see what stage it is, and we can help somebody to tell them what course of action needs to be taken, whether it's one dose of chemotherapy, whether it's a lengthy stay in hospital, and just try and keep your head above water, stick with it, and you'll see it through to the end, and you'll be good to go.
If I was to speak directly to someone that had been diagnosed with germ cell cancer, I would tell them to remain positive, be strong mentally, and inform the family and friends of what's happening and what's going on. If you need to seek advice about what is going to happen, there are people out there like Checkham Lads that will help and give you advice of the things to come. Cancer is more treatable now than it ever has been. Testicular cancer is more treatable than it ever has been, along with germ cell cancer. So be positive. You have to fight, you have to go through the negatives to get the positive.
Talk to the other survivors. Don't worry about it. They've heard it all before, so talk to them.
The best tip is to actually just talk about it, be open, just let people know what's going on. I never shied away from telling anybody that I was going through testicular cancer or that I've had testicular cancer.
Chin up, stay strong, don't fail yourself, don't fail your family, don't give in, keep fighting, be strong as best you can, and you've got to just be yourself and just try and get through it.
I'd give him a hug. Give him a hug, say, you'll be all right. There's people out there there's charities like Checkham Lads, who I'm here with today, that will take you in, go through different stories, be in contact with other people going through the exact same as yourself, and that there's real big help.
Any advice to anybody who's just been diagnosed, or somebody who's had it twice, is get into our forum, right? Don't read Google. We've got a lot of people in our support forum who can answer your questions. Most of us have been there. Some of us have been there twice. Some of us know a lot. So don't be afraid to ask the questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question, right? Nobody's going to laugh at you. It is a terrifying experience for everybody. I've heard it all before. Every question I've heard, and I've got most of the answers for. So get in touch. But mostly, like I said, I'd like to thank everyone today who came along. I hope they've had a good day. And after cancer, lads, you can do something stupid like this. Go and do it. Take up skydiving. You know, go and play footy or golf again like you never used to. Take up a hobby, right? Get stuck into life, right? Because life's there to enjoy, and you only get one go.
'Cause in our hearts, we're petrified to lead a simple life where everything's for free. And if you look